I'm just getting ready to load up for my weekly Tuesday match and thought, why not film it, show you what I do, and show you what I can at the club. It's tough because it's dark, but let's get started and have some fun. I've got my normal set of tools here. I shouldn't say normally. I alternate depending on how fast I'm just trying to get stuff done between my K&M and my amp press. We are going to be using the amp press today because I am doing some testing and I want to make sure that I have good data going into it. If I'm just knocking out rounds, just head into the range or something, I'll usually use the K&M. If I'm doing testing, I want to be able to see what's going into the each round, and if there's any weird abnormalities that I need to pull out that could affect my testing. I have my Ingenuity Precision powder system over here, and this is what I've been using for a few months now and still really, really love it. No issues with that right now. And I'm going to be screenshotting, so don't worry that you can't see this, but I'm going to be doing a screen share of my actual amp press as we go along. So let's get that rolling. This video brought to you by ShootingBot. I use ShootingBot because I like to set up in-stock alerts for primers, powder, and other items. I can go in and search for something like 180 hybrids. It'll show me who has it, and if they don't, how long they've been out of stock and what the last pricing was. And I can create a notification list so that if anything comes in that's on my list, I instantly get a text. For me, this is the best way to get any components that I'm looking for. So if you're out there looking for primers, powder, brass, bullets, and ammo, give ShootingBot a try. And there you go. So now you're going to see what I see on the amp press. First thing we need to do, I've already connected it to the Bluetooth, but we need to make sure that we zero it. So we're going to make sure the press is clear and hit OK. Next thing we need to do is come up here and find the X0. And you want to make sure that you're adjusting the RAM accordingly. You will notice that when I put in a loaded round, there's even less clearance. But I don't leave a lot of clearance here. There's typically maybe a quarter to half an inch of gap. And I just find that the results work better with the amp press that way. If you leave too much downstroke, it can actually cause a problem where it causes a weird spike at the end and it can throw off what your graph looks like. So making sure you have that adjusted, make sure you have this collar set, all of that really helps. So we're going to adjust the RAM and press OK. Oops. There we go. So now it has found the X. And if for some reason I had forgotten to put that in and it ran, I would just come back in here. I would now put this back on and then hit OK again. It's not a big deal. Now that that's set, we want to set up the auto run because I don't want to have to hit spacebar every time. So we're going to remove any weight from the press and hit 0. It's taking a reading. It's now going to take a reading with the die on, and that's going to tell it when to recognize that it needs to go ahead and seat a bullet. All right, so we are all done there. So that part is good to go. Now we have this is where our finished rounds are going to go. So I normally would put it just a little bit over here, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to stick it over here. In fact, I can probably take the lid off and just put it in front of me here, so that'll be easy. We'll just do that. And I'm not going to take any measurements. I know where my die is set. I might periodically take measurements, but I haven't been doing any seating depth testing, so I know that this is not moving at all, so I don't really worry about that. And then I get a lot of questions about this. So this is my Short Action Customs and my powder funnel for it. And I'm a big fan of this. I really like how it works. I've shown this off before, but it's modular, so you can put in as many extensions as you want, and then it uses the same inserts as your caliper system will, which is right here. So it's all the same inserts. And then all I did, so this is the normal funnel, and all I did is took I think this is a 2-inch ABS coupler, and I just ground out the coupling ridge that's in the middle, and it fits perfect in here, and it just lets me dump a little bit faster without worrying about any kind of spillage or anything, and so that works really well for me. So we're going to come in here. I've already got my load set, which is 56.25. I am loading triple nickel in this. As you know, I use Lapua brass, and I am using Berger 180s that have been sorted and pointed. However, there is something different about these bullets. These are my, kind of call them the overruns. So when I do my sorting, there's going to be some that are way on the bottom and way on the top. And that's just for purposes of making sure they all get pointed accordingly. So then I pointed all the ones at the bottom and then pointed all the ones at the top and then commingled them. So the ones at the bottom were pointed accordingly within that group, and the ones at the top were as well, but then they are just mixed together, and that's what we're going to be shooting tonight, and we're going to see how that goes. So 56.25, let's let this rip. Oh, helps to open that up. There we go. Normally I charge it. I didn't charge it this time, so that's why it was over on that one. And what I'm going to be doing is after all of this is done, I'll go back and pull out the rounds that I'm going to turn into ciders, for instance. Because if I try guessing right now which ones are above or below some kind of average, then it's not going to necessarily serve me well. I like to wait, especially because I'm only going to load enough rounds for 5 or 6 ciders. So at that point, it's a function of making sure I pull out the ones that appear to be the 5 or 6 worst from my group. If I think something's the worst now, I could have something worse later. So that'll get me six ciders. You do have to give this a second. You've seen me hit the space bar. You do have to give it a second before you put the next one on, and sometimes I swap it out a little too fast. So that's all that is. if you look at the screen now, you can see there's one that's noticeably higher than all the others, so that one's definitely looking like it's going to come out. Oh, shaky today. You'll also notice I don't have a problem having these next to each other because it's not exerting force that affects my my scale here. Oop. I put a little too much powder and I wasn't paying attention. That's it, 26 rounds. Clear that out. Okay, so now that we have our 26 rounds, we can come in here and take a look. And right off the bat, I'm obviously going to pull out this one here, which is number 22. So number 20, 22. And the one next to it, which I think was number 1 or 2 or something. Yeah, there it is, number 2. And then this one's a little weird here. What is that, 24? And then I guess we could come down to this one here, 15. And this one, so that one was there. What is this? Number 5. And then we're going to pick one more. I think I'm going to take this curvy one, so 21. So I pulled out, the ones that looked a little wonkier on the graph here. So now we're going to go out. I'm going to rearrange these obviously so that we have these in our beginning 6 so that I have my ciders all set. So we'll do this. Now these others I don't care about what order they're in. I'm not paying attention to that. But now I have the 6 wonky ones and then the 20 good ones, and we'll shoot them and see what happens. Let's head out to the range. All right, we're going to get going here. I'm not going to be able to screen record because my iPad apparently is out of storage room. And I haven't set it up in a while, so. Okay, here we go. Not going to be screen recording because apparently my iPad ran out of storage. So there's that. But I'll show you the scorecard when we're done here.
What's his name? Yeah.
All right, we're going to leave. We always leave one round in case there's a problem with the target. We're going to go for record here.
No, it's just. Think of all these guys, these are the best. They'll share information, they'll share guns. Somebody shows you, 284 like you were last year. Well, I shoot that 60 yards. It works better in the winter. Well, in the winter, we don't tonight. There's some weird. So I start with this one is we go into 284 back out because it works better in the summer. Heavier going how do I save my targets? How do I see them all? Okay, so enter your name and maybe plastic note or whatever. better, whatever you need to do, however you take pictures or save. iPhone,
No.
Android.
Hey,
I
Marshall,
have to do those.
what target are you on right now? I was on.
How do you take a picture with an Android?
I know how to screenshot it, but I don't think I'm on the right. Because Joe Traylor said that his target with Joe, are you shooting on 16? Okay. It was recording my shot. Yeah, because he was shooting his. So I don't think he's
Yeah. You on 16? If he had shots, when he got ready to go, he started relay 3. If he had shots showing,
Ah,
and then started shooting.
that one's going to go out a little bit.
Do we have to stick around and take down the.
Yeah. When they get done, they'll raise the little cold and then they'll go down and share it.
So you just kind of wait around probably for another half an hour.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll give me time to put my. All that. I want to be. My first time. Okay, saddle up, Calvin. So,
How light?
dry fire it. It's under an ounce. Okay. Half an ounce. Just dry fire it.
Getting interested.
Different stock for the Creedmoor.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna want to be back.
Two different kinds of.
Come up and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what comes out here. 212X. Let me get back and we will go through these. And here's a closer look at that final target. You can see it's not a bad score, and overall it shot pretty well. If I had been making adjustments for elevation and windage throughout the string, it probably would have been a little more centered up. You can see that it's obviously, a little more in this upper right quadrant, and that's because I was holding center, just seeing what the group would do. If I was shooting a match, then it would have I would have come down at least a click, and I would have come over, a little bit, and it would have centered up a little bit. It doesn't necessarily mean that I would have gotten any better score in terms of the X's, but it definitely would have been a better, safer, centered up group. If I was shooting a match, these shots, especially 15, are a little scary, and you never want to see those if you can help it. So coming down and over a little bit would have centered it up over the X ring here. But I'm happy with it. It fulfilled my needs for the test. And if you're looking, you can see there's 2 sighters here. I accidentally shot 3 sighters without starting the camera, which I noted earlier, but in case you're looking at this and wondering what happened, that is why. So appreciate you watching. Hope this helps somebody out there. And don't forget, get out and shoot. Have a good one. We'll talk later.